Good evening, everyone. I am Chris, joined once again with JXEDITOR'S to talk about the Star Wars show that no one really gives a shit about. But here we are anyway. Episode 4 of The Skeleton Crew. Can't say I
Oh no,
remember
people give a shit about this
Adam.
one. People are eating this one up. It's just you and I don't really care.
Really? I haven't seen... Everyone just seems completely apathetic on this show from what I've seen online.
Oh, seriously? Yeah, no, from what I've seen, it's this one's getting like this one like people are really like my feed is filled with like what's usually just like everyone bitching. It's like this Lucasfilm is really like impressing me with it's impressed me with this. I was amazed by this. This is what the Skeleton Crew is doing right in all caps. These are like clickbait titles, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen the complete polar opposite, to be honest. I mean, so much so, this is how apathetic I am to this show. And I don't even hate the show. I think it is just a show that I'm just kind of letting wash over me, almost in a way. I woke up today and it was sort of like mid-afternoon, and I thought, I've got all this free time before work. I was like, don't I usually do something on a Wednesday? And I was like, shit, it's Skeleton Crew. Then I hit you up straight away, and I was like, oh shit, we're recording tonight, aren't we? And you were like, oh, fuck, yeah, I know, I'd completely forgot. We'd both forgotten about today's episode. So, I mean, I think that says a lot, to be honest, but that's just me.
it says a
But
lot about us,
yeah, it
definitely.
does. It does. We've got everything in Middle Earth in the comments. It says, good evening, guys. I hope you're okay. I'm doing good, man. How about you? Here to talk about some Skeleton Crew, episode 4. Initial opinions for me on this one. This is the definition of filler. Now, I'll hand over to you in a second. You've kind of framed your opinion on it that we need to see where it's going next week. I'm just basing my opinion on how episode 3 ended last week. I was like, right, we got the coordinates. Let's fucking go. And this one just feels like we're treading water. This feels like episode 4 of Mandalorian series 1. Do you remember that, where they touch down on that planet? You got the villagers and they're having to like repel the evil ATST thing, and it was just like, wow, that was a waste of time. It feels like that. Yeah, it's there's a lot of questionable shit. Now, when this episode first started, it did raise a few more questions. It felt like, oh, we're not actually pushing this story forward, but there's new intrigue about this planet. What's happened to At-Atin? And then we quickly realized that we're sorry, but your princess is in another castle, and this isn't actually At-Atin. This felt very video gamey. You know, when we were watching the Old Republic, and it was like, there's this map that we've got, and it's going to take us to all these different places before we actually get to the final level where we need to fucking get to.
Also have maps.
This feels like that. Yeah, there's so many maps. Yeah. Well, it's piracy, isn't it? Maps are in, so.
Actually, regarding that, at the can we jump to the end real quick?
Sure. Why not? Let's go. Non-linear on this bitch. Let's go.
Because you know the part with all the like where they just give up hope because they don't know what the fuck to do because all the other coordinates are still there, but At-Atin isn't there. But this planet has been identical to At-Atin. So it's safe to say there's an identical building to the one that they're standing in on one of those other 5 planets where the SME hasn't destroyed the coordinates to At-Atin. And I feel like that took me about 5 seconds to realize.
Yeah, they mentioned in the previous episode and in the previously on this, thank God, because I must have missed this, that there's a bunch of planets, At-Atin included, that were shrouded with like a barrier in the Old Republic, and all the other planets apart from At-Atin have been destroyed. Now, I thought Death Star destroyed. I was like, weren't planets only destroyed when the Death Star was a thing? And then you mentioned, well, it could have been bombarded. It could have been, essentially razed to the ground completely.
Yeah,
and
no,
I'm guessing
Death
this
Star
is just one of those planets.
Yeah, my exact words were the Death Star redefined the term destroy a planet because if you kill everything on a planet, you've destroyed that planet. Even if the planet's still physically there. But then the Death Star was like, no. This is how you destroy a planet. Giant lightsaber pointed at the core.
Yeah. We'll jump in at the beginning of this episode. We'll probably be moving around this a lot. I'm going to talk you through my thought process of where I thought this was heading at the beginning, which I thought could have been a really interesting take, and it really didn't go in this direction. So the crew touched down, and the kid's like, "Oh, nothing exciting happens," or something like that. I can't remember what he says. And then all of a sudden, the ship starts, turbulence hits, and he's like, "We're locked into an autopilot." And then the droid's like, "I'm gonna overwrite the autopilot," and then lands perfectly fine. I was like, what was the point of that? Couldn't they have just, hey, we're touching down on the planet, edit, and then they land on the planet? Because the whole autopilot thing led to nowhere. Anyway, they touch down, they disembark, and what they initially thought was At-Atom, which they said looks almost identical to it, it's completely deserted. Ash everywhere, buildings destroyed. The whole place looks like fucking Chernobyl or something, right? Now, I thought it was going to be a Planet of the Apes situation, and that it was At-Atom, but because it was kind of like shrouded in time, wasn't it protected from everything? They'd like pierced through the time barrier, and this is like At-Atom, like in the future or some shit, or past before it was built on. Yeah, that's what I thought it was, and I was really confused for like the first 10 minutes of this episode. I quickly realized that no, they just got the wrong planet. I was like, oh, well, this is going to be a fetch quest now. This is why it's 8 episodes. So the next episode is going to be the other planet that also isn't At-Atom, but we're getting ever closer to At-Atom. We've got to cross all those other planets off first before we get there. I don't know. I thought we were going Planet of the Apes with this. And the little blue elephant was just going to go like, "You blew it up! Damn you!"
Blew up the statue of King No Head.
Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot about that, King No Head. Yeah, what was kind of going through your head at the beginning of this episode then?
Honestly, have you played Final Fantasy X?
No, but I know of it. I know bits. It's the volleyball one, right? The blitzball.
Yeah, sort of. Exactly. So it turns out this is a major spoiler for Final Fantasy X, but that game came out for the PS2, so you should like either mute it or really like don't care. Just like really don't care about this.
It's go for it.
But yeah, the city where your main character is from was destroyed thousands of years ago, and you're actually from like a collective dream of the memory of the city. Now, I didn't think that's what was going on, but that's just where my mind was when they got to At-Atom, and it was all the same but destroyed. And I was like, "Oh my god, is this?" And I couldn't remember the name of the city.
And the kids disembark and they start to explore, and they tell the droid SM33, which you pointed out is Smee. Captain.
Smee.
Like I can't believe I can't believe I didn't call that. That's a pretty cool inside reference. I can fuck with that. That's cool. They tell the droid to basically keep watch on Jude Law, who's going to stay at the ship. And I didn't like this. He's like
initiating babysitting protocol.
Yeah, in babysitting protocol with a fucking pirate droid. I'm like, no, shut up. We're not doing this. So I didn't like that.
That's got to be from like his initial programming for actual babysitting.
And then Jude Law's just kind of like rifling through stuff in the ship, and then the droid's like, "Are you stealing?" And then he wasn't stealing.
Well, he was.
He's a pirate. What's he gonna do? It's fine. He's not going anywhere, is he? Like, what's he gonna do with it? I am also.
Yeah, no, that's kind of my thought.
By the end of this episode, I am going to make a bold prediction. Now, I fully expect this prediction to be wrong, just like my Smilo Ren prediction from Acolyte, thinking it was going to be Mother NSA, whatever her fucking name was. Yes, that character. I thought it was going to be that character, and it wasn't. Anyway, they're on the planet and they get attacked by a girl in a helmet who says she is from a tribe called the Toik. I think she says. I'm just thinking of Austin Powers Goldmember, like you are Toik like a Doiger, but
I was thinking that too.
yeah. Anyway, she quickly like rushes them aside, says we need to hide, and there's like an enemy tribe, an enemy army who are kind of like sort of stormtrooper looking, but also samurai sort of looking. They got like the Darth Vader kind of I don't know what you'd call it, sort of like this part of the Darth Vader helmet, the back part.
They look like the helmets that the troopers were wearing in Solo when they attacked Mimban.
I can't remember that film enough. I'm going to take your word for that one. Sure.
It's the same. It's just a gray, a shorter, less flashy gray Vader helmet without the mask.
Mm. My
Mimban,
first sort of like
planet from Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. See, I hate it. It's just like, look, just commit to it. We're going to wipe all this out of canon, but we're still going to like pillage everything from it. It's like, come up with a new name.
No, I disagree. That's why it's called Legends.
It's just lazy to me. You're going to wipe it out. Just let's see what you got. You're going to wipe all that out. Let's go with something new. Let's show me what you got, kind of thing. My first mark against this episode is that, you know, we're going to set this army up. Clearly, we're going to have like a big altercation at the end of this episode, and it's not going to feel egregiously like low budget and terrible and awful, and we're going to do absolutely nothing with it. I'm sure this episode won't do that. So, yeah, this army is a thing, and it has the. They're not the same, but they do have the same sound effect of the Eopes from the camel things from Phantom Menace. You know, Piusa.
See, I heard. Oh, you know, actually, I had a note about the sound that they chose for that because I
kept
thought they
replaying
sounded
the same.
more, you know, like a bantha.
Oh no!
Yes.
No! No!
Yes.
No! 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 Yeah. So this like enemy tribe army thing has these camels, which I believe belong to what are essentially kind of like a little mini resistance on the planet. We then
See, I have a note about them, and it's, I really hope they don't treat building an army of child soldiers as a good thing. I'm hoping these guys are more like the guys in Slumdog Millionaire.
Well, I just thought out of all the planets, isn't it convenient that the kids crash land on a planet where they've got kid soldiers so the kids can talk to the other kids? I'm like, it's great. So great.
Oh yeah, no, that's a very kids movie thing.
And of course, we've got the badass daughter character who's the lead. It's sort of like the de facto leader. Well, not the proper leader of the resistance, but it's the daughter of the leader of the resistance anyway. And of course, she's cool and badass and kicks ass. Yeah.
Hey, bath time.
Hey, how's it going, man? Yeah, then it's like, take me to your leader, essentially.
You cleaned his room.
What?
I'm just commenting that you cleaned your room.
I've moved stuff out of you for the camera, basically. It does need a good clean. Yeah. Bath Time says, I still haven't watched this, but I finished Penguin in the end. Without spoilers, because JX hasn't seen Penguin, keep it as cryptic as you can. Let me know what you think of Penguin, which is an infinitely better series than Skeleton Crew. Very difficult to compare them, though. They go to the leader, and he says that they have the carvings of the planet that they seek. Your planet isn't here, but we now have another map / more coordinates for you to find, and it's in this ancient temple, and there's carvings of it. But before you can do that, you've got to start training with the resistance for reasons that he doesn't disclose quite at this moment, but he says you're going to train with us. And he taps his stick a few times. Bath Time says, just going to the Penguin. I loved how, unlike Sopranos and Breaking Bad, they went all in on making you dislike the Penguin. Oh yeah, he is a full-on villain at the end of that, and in his proper animated series costume as well by the end of it, which is great. Oh, We then reveal something which I'm sure won't come into it in the finale episode of this show. The girl sort of cranks this cranky thing and reveals that the planet has a giant gun turret in the school, or what was once the school. I'm thinking if all these planets are carbon copies of each other, that gun turret's going to come back in the finale. Oh. I will continue to talk. Yeah, gun turret. It's going to happen. That big red button in the ship, they're going to hit that at some point, and there's also going to be a giant gun turret. I will go to some of the comments.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were chatting. Bath Time says, "Big up Middle Earth. Hope you saw the stuff about Return to Moria." Here we go. Chekhov's gun turret. There we go. Nice. We then have a scene where they're all training, and the girls are like getting all the crack shots and the bullseyes and everything. The kid can barely hold the fucking gun, and he's awful, and he falls on his ass. And then the girl, so the daughter of the leader and the blue elephant, what's his name? Neil, that's it.
Yeah, it's just a regular name, but spelled weird.
He gives some food to some starving children because he's a nice guy like that, and then they have a bonding scene
saving the cat. Yeah. He saved the cat from a tree.
Yeah. And he just says like how he's terrible and awful and he's cowardly and a bit shit. And by the end of this episode, you expect him to have like a little mini arc. Maybe he proves himself. Maybe he shows that he's got some stones. No, he faints at the first sight of danger. It's like, oh, okay.
No, he fainted when he knew he was okay.
Oh well, yeah, but you know, it's if you're building this up that he's going to try and get some.
That's actually a real thing.
It's literally
a real thing. Like I was at the hospital, like talking to like with my head bleeding, and I'm like, okay, so this, then this happened. Okay, you don't need anything else. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a thing. I'm saying when you set up, like, it's called character progression. It's called a little mini arc in the episode. He says how he always feels like a failure and how he's cowardly. And then, no, he doesn't save them from the droid. It's Jude Law who saves them from the droid. He hits the off switch.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have been able to do that without the elephant being brave.
What did he do that was brave?
Still almost. He threw the rock at the droid and said, "Hey, come over here," instead of killing those little kids.
I think it would have been a cooler moment if you switch the elephant with Jude Law and the elephant throws the rock and turns the droid off. And maybe not have Jude Law faint, but have him say like...
Except the elephant doesn't know where the button is.
It's right on the back, apparently. There's just like a big switch.
Oh yeah, no. I say that was really easy, but the thing is, I more believe Jude Law doing that than Neil.
I don't know. Maybe Neil will get some kind of arc by the end of the series, and he'll prove himself and won't faint, and he will hold true.
Yeah, no. I think this is probably. So here's the thing. I think if we're really focusing with Neil and giving Neil like this important art. By the way, I saw behind the scenes of Neil. The kid behind the mask, exactly what you think he looks like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. No, the glasses. It's exactly what you think he looks like.
And then, is it at this point where the girl kisses Neil, the little elephant guy?
It's like right before they part. It's when it's before when they are going into the building and she goes back to her family.
I just hate, like, we've already got kids in the show. They're on an adventure and they're kind of like in an adult world. That's fine. That's like the good, all the influences that we've talked about. But they just happen to crash land on the planet of like the fucking Lost Boys or what's it, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, where there's just like an army of children. I'm like,
no, that's it. Oh right, sorry, I was thinking just Mad Max in general. That's Phasma's world.
Yeah.
That's a good book.
after like one bit of a training montage, the leader says they have the honor of leading them into battle, and they're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Well, why wouldn't you question this in the first place? Why would they need to combat train with these people?" They're just like, "Hey, we want some
Oh,
coordinates," and it's like,
because
"Yeah,
they wanted to play with blasters.
sure." Anyway, he's like, "Well, you're going to lead us into battle," and they're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, what are you gaining from this? They've had like a couple of hours of training. Granted, it's more training than Rey has in the sequel trilogy, but even still, they wouldn't be as proficient as the people that have literally been born into this. These people have been fighting this war since they were 6 years old. Most of them are still 6 years old. But like, why would you put them into battle? Are they the cannon fodder? You just send them in first to just get wasted? What benefit is that?
Uh, yeah, that might be. Well, here's the thing. That might be exactly what they're doing because I really hope these aren't actually the good guys.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll see all these characters again? Do you think they'll come back into it?
I do. Yeah, no. Chekhov's gun turret. We have to.
Well, no, because I'm saying this is a carbon copy of At-Atin, right? I'm saying when they
Oh,
eventually
and so
get back
there
to
would be one on
At-Atin,
that Atten.
they'll run to the school and they'll
Okay,
hit a
then let me
button,
put it.
and then yeah.
So in that case, let me just say, I think next week we're gonna get more of this planet. You said it yourself. This episode on its own is very filler, but and if we don't get more, then that's all it will be. But the bit with the herding animal with the Eope, what that Jude Law explained, he got them back and all is fine with the world.
We don't see
Uh,
that other army. We don't
I
see that
don't.
evil army again.
Yeah, I don't trust that. And so I want this. I want more of this because I want the army of child soldiers to turn out to be not the good guys
Hmm.
because they have an army of child soldiers.
I mean, if you're like a grown adult army and you're getting your ass kicked by children soldiers, then you should just stop what you're doing. It's like, yeah, I think as Bataille says, it's like the Ewoks, right? It's like the Ewoks and the what is it, a battalion of my best men or something. What does the Emperor say in Return of the
Yeah, an
Jedi?
entire legion of my
Legion.
best troops.
That's it. Wow,
Yeah,
shit.
and
Bad Time
and
says
then you
there's
get
no.
Rex in a scout armor.
No, we don't. Shush. No, we don't. That was an awful and terrible retcon. I hate it. Bad Time says there's no chance I was right, and it's
Whatever.
similar to Count of Monte Cristo at all with Jude Law. I have never read or seen Count of Monte Cristo. I'm assuming that you probably have. Is there any
How
truth to
would
that?
he have? How? I mean, he gets Jude Jude Law like the we know why he was in the brig. It was because he got mutinied by Brutus.
Hmm.
Surprise. Uh, and I mean, what do you mean by Count of Monte Cristo? Because like, is he gonna get the money and seek revenge on his
Oh, here
crew?
we go.
Maybe.
Dr. Jedi's identity goes after treasure, gets revenge for false imprisonment. I mean, I guess that. I mean, I don't
I
know
mean,
how he
yeah,
adopts a
yeah.
Jedi's
When you
because he still floated the
then
key.
I
He's
mean,
still
so
force
far,
sensitive.
yeah. But that's the difference between a Jedi and the Jedi.
Mhm,
Like there's the layman's Jedi and the Order of the Jedi. But
mhm.
in that scenario, then yeah, then it seems as long as he goes back for revenge, you like he's already adopted the Jedi identity. And we know that's not true. He goes after the treasure. Uh, if he gets it and then tries to use it to go after his crew, then yeah, that's pretty Count of Monte Cristo.
Mhm. The only like Count of Monte Cristo that I've
But there
seen,
wouldn't be enough episodes to do it right.
the only Count of Monte Cristo that I've seen are the
Yeah.
small short clips in V for Vendetta where he's watching it on TV because it's his favorite movie.
May we come up? You find your own
Your
tree.
phone tree. That's it. Yeah, so Jude Law brings the camel things back because apparently these camel things that the enemy had, they originally belonged to like the child resistance, and they want their camels back because these camels will be so useful, I guess. And it was just surreal because when Jude Law beckons the camels forward, he goes like he makes like a noise, and I was like, "Oh, Jude, I'm so sorry." I'm
Yeah, he
sorry you
had to
had to
do
do
that.
that. There is like a small scene earlier where he gets surrounded by the soldiers, and he just says, "Oh, he paid them, and they gave him the camels, basically." But yeah, it was just weird how we set up these villainous guys. They had like a fucking tank. They've got like artillery out the wazoo. They've got armor on, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have like at least. I mean, I hate this episode, but the episode I referred to at the beginning of this live stream, where I said it reminds me of episode 4 of Mandalorian series 1, where it's the like the villagers uprising. At least there is a bit of a fucking altercation with these soldiers and the ATST in the forest. He trains them up like in a day. It's very similar to this actually. He trains them up in like a day, and he makes them like have a little bit of a resistance against them. You don't even get that in this episode. This one felt really low budget compared to all the previous ones. Oh, this is a great name.
I
This
will
might be one of the
say,
best names I've ever seen for a channel. We've got
pretty great.
Brogu.
I saw that. That's pretty great.
Love it.
Yeah,
How you doing?
if you scan back like the past 30 seconds, you see me reading that for the first time.
Oh, okay. Are you ahead of me then with the that just came through?
Oh yeah, no, I saw that like a minute ago.
Oh, okay. I just came up for me.
Oh,
Let's
that
see
would explain some stuff.
what next. Okay, anyway, so they bring the camels back, and the villagers are like the
Oh,
resistance.
actually,
Okay.
can I?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
Yeah,
took your.
I
Yeah,
will
my
point
bad.
out this whole episode. They're like, if these kids go into into a battle, they're gonna fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
And then there not being a battle at the end because Jude Law turns out was having a completely different episode of a show off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean that's kind of funny. I'd like more information, but I'd say that's pretty true to form so far.
Mm-hmm. So because they got the camels back, the resistance say, "Hey, you can go into like the catacombs now, and we'll show you where it is and where the coordinates are to At-Atin." So they go down there, but conveniently, out of all the pillars, because there's a bunch of pillars down there with coordinates linking them to all the other planets, and the one they need for their home planet has been scratched off, has been erased from the archive memory. And then it turns out that the droid SM-33 is the one who destroyed it. Now, this is literally Treasure Planet. This character, this whole thing is Treasure Planet. So the droid, the robot character, he can sort of remember it. It's at the back of his mind, and his previous captain prevented him from divulging information or the location of where they actually need to go.
I had a realization. Told you this, but right before we got on stream. But the line he keeps saying that's the name of this episode. Can't say I remember no At-Atin. That's not him saying he doesn't remember At-Atin. He's literally saying I can't say that I remember At-Atin because I've literally been told I can't say that.
Well, it's
And I think that's
I
funny.
remember no At-Atin.
Yes,
So
yeah. Well, yes, he double negatives, but he's a
yeah,
pirate.
yeah, that's true. I still can't get over that. We've got a droid that talks like a pirate. It's not National Talk Like a Pirate Day, fellas. Come on, what are we doing? But yeah, it's Treasure Planet. It's Ben Gunn's character from Treasure Planet. And the Captain Flint removed his memory chip containing all the vital information, and he knows bits and pieces of it, like some circuits are firing and whatnot. I'm like, what is the previous couple of Star Wars shows? What is their hard on for Treasure Planet? Most notably, Ahsoka. We've got like the whole flying space whale thing that's in Treasure Planet. We had the literal map from Treasure Planet in Ahsoka, Like the little sphere thing that they plug into the thing and it creates like the big grid around them. Like that is treasure. We're constantly doing it. I'm like, what are we doing? At least there's more sense with this one because it's piratey. We got like Long John Silver going on. We've got Smee, which you pointed out, which I completely forgot about, and now we've got this. I'm like, sure. So yeah, the droid's like, I don't, I remember scratching it off. It was me who got rid of it, and is it right? Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay. So this is the bit where the girl of the
wait,
group.
I have a note about this scene.
Gone.
When they couldn't get when he talked about how he destroyed the coordinates, and then they're like, wait, tell me about the coordinates. They're like, what coordinates? To At-Aten. And he's like, can't say I remember no At-Aten. And then they're back in that same loop, and it's like, oh, what do we do? And I just have this note. I bet Babu Frick could get those coordinates.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Babu Frick.
Hey!
Yar, Babu Frick's one of the oldest mateys. Like,
Honestly,
I fucking love Babu Frick. It's the one good thing about episode 9. He's awesome. Oh, what was the show where they had like a little family of Babu Fricks? Was that in Ahsoka?
Mando 3.
Oh, that was it. Bath Time says, is there a point to this series beyond a standalone adventure, or have they gone Marvel and tried to get it to set stuff up or possibly enrich the Star Wars universe with cool concepts?
So far.
Standalone so far, but my prediction is that they're going to discover or find Ahsoka, and it's going to be this group of kids, the Skeleton Crew, that bring Ahsoka back to the known galaxy, I guess. That or she's going to ride a fucking space whale like Lizan Al-Gaib in the next series of Ahsoka.
You think these kids are going to perform a jihad?
Oh, God, yes. I mean, the Resistance kids basically were, so why not? Brogu said, I fucking love that name. I'm gonna keep saying that name. Keep commenting so I can keep shouting your name out. Brogu says the kids need to find a computer programmer to get into SM33 memory bank. Yeah, or Babu Frick, as you said, right? Bath Time says, does Nvidia still ship droids in Star Wars with 8GB RAM? VRAM? That's lost on me, dude. That's techno babble.
It was clever. It was good.
Brogu says, I have a crazy theory. I love crazy theories. Wim's father is not letting on to what he knows. I think he may be a pirate and his son found his ship. When looking for his son, he went right to the ship. I guess I'm going to use...
They also went right to the planet with the kids army.
I'm going to give my prediction now off the back of that. I don't think it's going to be the father, but my guess as to who SM33's pirate master is. You know that chick who came into the school? I think she's going to be the pirate. I think she's going to be the captain.
Interesting.
I got a feeling.
Do you think she's Captain Flint?
It feels very Disney to do that. And they set her
not
up.
To give anything away, but
What? Is this a thing? Is this a bit? Are we doing a bit right now, or have you legitimately frozen? Can I see anything moving in the back? Oh, you fucker. Well, she'd like the assessor or something. I don't know. I think she's going to be like, what's that chick in Pirates of the Caribbean, The Ride? They were going to do a spin-off with Margot Robbie. What's that chick called?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. I don't remember. But
I think she's going to be a character like that. It feels very Disney to do something like that. So that's my crazy theory. That's not founded on anything. I was wrong about Smilo Ren though, so it could all still be to play for.
You ate those words with mustard.
Every reviewer, like people said, that we've got leaks. We know the end of the episode they're going to do "I am your mother." They were going to do that line drop.
You really thought?
I really did. Bath Time says, "Oh yes, you said that about Ahsoka before. Any more evidence?" No, I mean I haven't seen
No.
any more evidence, but it just mentioned that they like bump into. I can't remember what the paragraph was that I read, but it was something like they run into. It wasn't like familiar faces or it was something like that. But you could read between the lines and maybe go, oh, okay, maybe they're going to bring it in, because I don't see Disney just releasing this as a standalone thing. That's not their MO. Ever since Mando season 2. They've just been cramming in references left, right, and center to the animated series like Rebels and everything in between. I think this is going to tie in. I think they're going to want to unify this whole TV universe in some way. I mean, even like Andor, obviously that ties into Rogue One and stuff that we've had before, but the time period that set in kind of pigeonholes it in that. And I do think that's going to be more or less its own thing. But with all this stuff, I guarantee they're going to bring it all together, I would imagine. Travis says, "How's it going, guys? Loving this show so far."
Hello,
I mean,
Travis.
I didn't like today's one. It's been like bang average for me so far, but yeah, well,
Yeah, no, I
this is the bar.
recognize the show it seems to be doing all right, but I don't like these kinds of stories. You know, the Goonies,
Yeah.
Stranger Things. They're just so this show was never going to be for me. If I wasn't doing these reviews, I wasn't going to be watching the show. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I did these reviews by the end of this. You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I hope they don't do this. Travis says, a fun route would be for the kids to come across the infinitely memorable character of Shin Hati, who tries to steal their ship but ends up reluctantly helping them, joining the crew, kind of the Nebula route in the MCU. I really hope they don't do that. I'd rather, you know what? I'd rather this be self-contained. I think there's a place to do stories like that. I don't think everything needs to be tied together, but I realize that this is Disney and they are kind of following the Marvel route with their last few shows that they've done.
I don't know. It's kind of early to bring Shin into Nebula's territory, especially considering where she got left off in Ahsoka.
She had no
However,
character. What was her character in Ahsoka? Bitch said like two
it
lines.
was pretty much she has about as much character as like Obi-Wan in Phantom Menace. It's not a lot.
Yeah, but at least there's some like backstory with Obi-Wan at that point, because we've seen the OT. There's fuck all
No,
for
no,
her.
no, no. There's front story.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like when they were released, there's grounds for shit there. But Shin Hati, like, wow. Other than the fact that she's kind of hot, what's she got going for her? She's
Again,
kind of
I
got
I stand
she's
by.
got that like
It's like you're saying what I'm saying, just different.
she's got that
Like
I
she's
can change her personality to her.
no, you've got that. I can change her personality.
Shin Hati's just like should I say Shin Hati? That was a Freudian slip. Shin Hati. I mean, she's just like she just needs to dye her hair blue and get a septum piercing, and her journey towards the dark side will be complete. Bath Time says, "What's Smilo Ren?" Smilo Ren was the fucking yeah. It's a good question from Acolyte. The what was the helmet called? What was it made of that disrupts lightsabers?
Cortosis.
Cortosis, thank you. The Cortosis helmet that literally looked like the Kylo Ren helmet with like this big shit-eating grin on it. It was terrible. Brogu says, call me crazy, but I think the father may have already found some treasure. He gave his son those credits like it was nothing. I know that may be a bit thin, but something tells me he's hiding info. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, because we're assuming that At-Atin's like, well, another reference, a treasure planet. But yeah, maybe that's some good grounds. Maybe he has like found some riches back in the
That's a good
day and
point.
he's got some doubloons. So yeah, good shout there. Because everyone like lost their shit when they were trying to pay for some soup at the diner with that in episode 2. So
Yeah.
Travis says there would be something funny about the crew rescuing Ahsoka and for her to awkwardly run into Shin Hati on the ship. Well, so they could just fold their arms and stare at each other in silence for long pauses, like Ahsoka, before they both have to get to the guns and work together. This is all very Marvel. Shin Hati goes into the refresher on the ship after Neil clogs the toilet. Oh God, and has to use her lightsaber to get his turd down. That took a turn. I'm assuming they just suck it out into the vacuum of space, you know? There's some things in fantasy storytelling, you know, we don't need to know literally the ins and outs of the human body. When we watch The Lord of the Rings, it's a long journey. It's 13 months to the day, isn't it? Or something like that.
Dude, hobbits eat 7 meals a day. They shit a
Exactly.
lot.
Exactly. I think the only toilet that we get is in The Hobbit, isn't it? Where if you speak of this to anyone, I'll rip your arms off.
Oh no! I also in The Hobbit. I'm not even going to tell what that they've done in the bathroom. They've all but destroyed the plumbing. I don't understand what they're doing in my
house. And then you get the retarded one.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but what should I do with my plate?
Here you go, Rory. Give it to me. We will do a quote along at some point. It will happen. Brogu says, I think Disney made a mistake by tagging the show with a Star Wars name. They should have promoted this show as a fun, entertaining Disney show instead of Star Wars. This is more like Space Goonies. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, I think it probably would have done better, in all honesty. I would have rather have this been Goonies. Just like an original series type thing. It's Disney's answer to Stranger Things, I guess. I don't think it needed to be Star Wars. What was that? What was that Jumanji knockoff that came out?
Star Wars.
Zathura, was it called, or something? Where it was like it was Jumanji, but in
exactly
space.
What it was called.
Yeah, just do something like that. Let's see. Travis says SM33 reminds. I'm just going to call him Smee from now on. Can we call him Smee? Can we agree with that? Smee reminds me of the Decepticon in Revenge of the Fallen. Yes, this is what I said a few weeks ago, right? Smee reminds me of the Decepticon in Revenge of the Fallen who farts out a parachute. Yeah, Jetfire should be called Dirt. Planet Dirt. He's like spitting and shit. God, I hate the design of the Transformers in those films. They're so fucking ugly. Oh, he does fart out a parachute. That is a thing that happens in that movie. And then you have the racist robots in that one. Skids and Mudflap. One of them is voiced by SpongeBob, Tom Kenny. He's got a gold tooth, and he's like, "Yeah, we don't do."
Oh yeah, no, I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's like, "Can you read this?" No, we don't do a lot of reading. I'm like, Oh
God, that is problematic.
It was 2009, man. It was different times. Let's see. Travis says Rebels may have given us our first canon urination, which is Wedge when AP5 walks in on him and you hear his pee hitting the toilet. Wow. Thanks, Filoni.
Yeah, no, that does happen. I love AP5. He's great.
First canon urination
was a droid.
First canon urination. Why is the like? Oh no! You know what? I had a Meisterklasse moment. I had a bit of a senior moment right then. I was like, there's that scene in Star Wars where one of the droids pees on another one and is leaking lubricant. And I was like, no, that's in the first Transformers movie where Bumblebee pees on John Turturro. And then you get Peter Cullen, the legacy voice actor of Optimus Prime, say, Bumblebee, stop lubricating the human. Yeah, Jesus Christ, those films. After this point, just bringing it back to the episode, we're almost at the end now. The captain girl, has a bit of a moment of weakness. She kind of breaks down. And I was like, oh, this is good character stuff right here. She's showing vulnerability. I like it. She says, always being told what to do. She's kind of doing her own thing, and she's trying to do the best for everyone and make sure no one gets hurt. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good stuff. And then from this moment of weakness, she says, telling people what to do. And she goes, right, droid, override memory circuits or whatnot. tell us what happened to the coordinates that got scratched off the wall. What happened? Tell us about at him. And that conveniently works. Just saying, hey, droid, override everything, reboot, system reset, and he gets his memory back.
Oh, you questioned that, yeah, that was in episode 1. And
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
you
like
had
it
that
then,
question.
but this was, I had seen
Yeah,
this was
no,
like a
it
full-on
didn't make
memory
much sense
chip.
then either.
Yeah, this was like a full-on memory chip that just got. So they could go to 3PO in. I mean, I know he gets his memory back anyway in episode 9. But hell, okay, no. After have the protocol droid's memory wiped, end of episode 3, and then just be like 3PO, override memory wipe operations, reset your memory, and then boom, he's got them all back. It's like the equivalent of that. It doesn't work, does it? If your memory's been wiped or been scrubbed completely or torn out, you can reboot it, but you ain't getting all those memories back. So that was some bullshit. That was some convenient writing. I didn't like that. And then he turns fucking evil. He turns into like the goddamn T-800 or something. And he's like, I wiped it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember what it reminded me of, but he's just goes full on murder mode.
Yeah, he does. And he's like, my captain told me to whoever rebooted my memory or asked me that question, I will tear them limb from limb. And he goes like all robotic and like his arms like detached, like like he's gonna like fucking. Yeah, right. I know. It reminds me. Yeah, it's just every like evil robot. Yeah, it's just like every evil robot thing. My final note on this episode is, wasn't it a weird camera angle when he turns evil? And you could clearly tell they like built a real droid for the close-ups, but it was like this weird like handheld shaky cam. It was like tear them limb from limb, and they're just shaking the puppet in front of the camera.
Oh no, he's it's like 3PO in episode 1.
Yeah, it was almost like SM33
No,
or
no,
Sorry, was like holding a camera, like doing a selfie kind of thing. That's how the camera looked. It was weird.
yeah, but the way that they do the effects for SM33, do you know how they did the 3PO in episode 1?
Or he was like green screened out, wasn't he, Anthony Daniels in the suit? And they had like the parts around him showing.
Yeah, so he's there's like he's wearing a suit with like a bar sticking off of like each joint that's attached to a corresponding joint on the 3PO model,
Yeah.
and then they have to just paint him out.
Oh,
And
that's
that's what
right.
they did
Yeah.
for and that's how they do SM33.
I think it was more the camera angle was just weird, just like the weird shaky cam, like up close POV kind of thing. Anyway, he just fucking loses his shit and tries to murder the kids, and that's when little Neil runs in, the blue elephant, which just momentarily distracts him, and then Jude Law runs in at the last second, hits like apparently the big off switch on his back. And it reminded me of, the Red Letter Media.
Good should have.
Yeah. It reminded me of the Red Letter Media video where they're talking about the top 10 things about Darth Vader's suit. And they say that there's a button on the front which just shuts down his whole suit. And it was like there was this Jedi Master who he was fighting in Legends who found his off switch and just turned it off.
Yeah. Something similar happens in canon, but it's like it's literally from the doctor who designed the armor.
Mm. Wait, there was a doctor who designed the armor? I thought it was all droids and shit.
Well, somebody had to actually come up with the blueprints and the prototype.
I'm imagining, the scene in Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire where he's coming up with ideas for his suit and it does like the whole montage of him like sketching different designs. It's like, yeah, Darth Vader. That's the one. That's the final design. I'm going to scrap that one where he's in white armor.
Well, that's the guy who he makes the General Grievous that's a Mon Calamari.
Wait, what? There's a cyborg Mon Calamari?
Yeah, no, Silo 4. Yeah, no, Dr. Silo. He makes because he makes all these different like pseudo Jedi cyborgs to like to like fuck with Vader, and Palpatine humors him to again fuck with Vader. And Palpatine's like, "Oh yes, any one of them could replace you," and he's just like, "What do you? None of them have the Force." And it's just like, it doesn't matter if they can kill you. Does it proves Silo's right? And then Vader's like, "Yeah, I killed Silo." It's like, "Oh, thank God, that guy was insane."
Do you think when Darth Vader got up off that walkway and, you know, he'd calmed down after freaking out about Padme and he just walked to the mirror and he was like, dude, I look so fucking cool. And he's like, he's doing like awkward poses. But he has to move probably like Michael Keaton Batman in '89. He has to like turn his whole body to move his head.
Well, I can tell you that canonically, the first thing he tried to do in after the camera cuts away is he tries to use the Force to strangle Palpatine.
Oh, does he?
Does not go well for him.
No, I can imagine. Let's see. Travis says Zathura and Jumanji were both based off books in the same series. The characters from the Zathura appear at the very end of the Jumanji book. I actually didn't know they were based on books, let alone a series of books. So the whole series of books based.
Show up?
So the whole series of books then just different board games in a different location. You've got a jungle board game. You've got a space board game. Huh.
What other would you like? You've got Safari in space.
Look, that author's got one like story. Yeah, he's got one story and he's gonna fucking run with it and he's just gonna remix that shit.
He's got one No. He's got one concept, but so many ideas.
Yeah.
He's just like, but what if it was in space? What if it's in the ocean? I just system shocked to Bioshocks, didn't I?
So wait, so
what
like,
if it's in the sky?
So the characters from Zathura appear at the very end of the Jumanji book. Can we get like a post-credit scene now of that Jumanji movie and just go like, Robin Williams, I'm here to talk to you about the Zathura initiative or something like shared universe in this bitch. Let's see. Bath Time says, have you seen that Transformers cartoon in the cinema? It's unironically very fun. Transformers 1. So Dale actually watched that and he doesn't know anything about Transformers and he said it was actually pretty good, but he says it was the way that they talk is weird. Which I kind of got from the trailer. It feels just very modern and it's a really cool concept. And I always thought like if ever I mean, I can't write and I can't direct, but if I ever did, hypothetically, and someone said, right, pitch me an idea for a Transformers live action, what do we do with this franchise? I'm like, you do a trilogy set on Cybertron before they come to Earth and you show how the Autobots and the Decepticons like went from from BFFs to fucking mortal enemies, and you see how that war progresses. Kind of like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes films, like exactly that same structure. Let's see that. And they kind of do, because Megatron and Optimus are best friends in this on Cybertron, and it shows how they fall out, but it's done in like a very sort of modern verbiage and terrible pop culture jokes in there. From what I saw from the trailer. But maybe the actual film's pretty good. Let's see. Travis says that handheld selfie camera angle always puts me off. They do it in Hangover 3 and Shyamalan's Glass, and it looks really awkward. Yeah, it just took me out. Everything else has like been filmed pretty well, like with good framing, and then that just it felt very low budget. It was the equivalent for me of like the GoPro shots in Desolation of Smaug during the rapid scene, the barrels. It's like everything, you know, studio quality CGI, well, for the most part. You know what I mean? But like everything's framed proper, and then it's like, oh, that looks like it was shot on a DSLR from like the mid 2000s. Like, sticks out a little bit. Travis says, I always love that when Peter is drawing the suits, he draws a nipple on the chest and colors over it. Does he actually? I need to watch that again. He's going with the Joel Schumacher route.
That's clear. Yeah, no, that's probably what they're going for there. That it's like, no, that's a bad idea. because remember that's early 2000. That's 2001. That's still fresh.
Trust a nipple. I haven't seen that. That's amazing. Bath Time says, "Who needs the force when you've got the funk?" I don't know. It just felt right to say that in just felt right to say that in Palpatine's voice. That's the end of my notes. I don't have any more notes on this one, so I guess where are they going on the next
I have
episode? They're
two
just
notes
gonna.
I haven't said so far.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
First off, I said I acknowledged this before the. I think I acknowledged this before the stream, but not during the stream. When they think that they're on At-Aten, but time has passed, and they say that maybe we fell asleep for hundreds of years, like that Jedi in the tales of the knights of the old. Shut up, Win.
Which is weird because they have the rights to that. That's something you do when you don't own the rights to it. And then there are the two blue wizards. You know, I've quite forgotten their names. It's that kind of thing. we can kind of say it, but we can't legally. Or Rings of
And the
Power
other
not
thing is,
mentioning Gandalf for season 1.
you mean
That's the reason.
Grandelf?
Yeah, they didn't have the rights during season 1. It was too expensive.
His,
But then they got it by season
his
2.
name is Grand Elf.
The fucking hell,
It's
Jesus.
been a mistake this whole fucking time.
I can't wait to see season 3 where we get an origin story to find out how he gets his fucking hat.
Oh yeah. Now, also, it's not often we see a ship land in this in Star Wars.
Is it? I'm going to refute that, actually. We see a ship land many, many times.
Do we?
Literally the opening scene of Phantom Menace, multiple times. Naboo Star
I'm talking about
landing.
since Disney started.
Oh, so Disney Star Wars. Kylo Ren ships lands at the very beginning of Force Awakens. We see the Millennium Falcon land on Takodana.
Okay.
Let's see. We see the Millennium Falcon crash land on Starkiller Base. Let's see. There's probably more in that. Oh, we see the little cruisers land at the very beginning of the film with the stormtroopers on. If we like the carriers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Bring Me Down to Him in Last Jedi. We see that ship land. We see the Millennium Falcon land on the island.
No. We don't see it land because it's bring
That's
me
an
down to
edit.
him, and then he's pretty much off.
Oh, it still lands though, doesn't it? I suppose.
No, but like that's how it lands most of the time in Disney Star Wars. Is we cut and the ship has already landed.
Rise of Skywalker. There's probably a whole.
At no point do we see a ship land in Rise of Skywalker.
Don't we see the X-wing land on Exegol at the end with Rey and her disembark?
No.
Hmm.
We see her fly to there, and then we see it has landed.
What about her landing the Falcon when they rescue Chewie in the hangar?
They didn't land the Falcon in the hangar.
No, they had they'd apprehended the Falcon, hadn't they? At that point, had they? Dude, I can't fucking remember episode 9. It's terrible and awful and shit.
They land Ochi's ship and then they escape in the Falcon, but we don't see the Ochi ship land.
Mm. What about the Rey's X-wing at the very end of the film when she meets up with them all? That lands in the jungle, doesn't it? We see it fly down
We see
and
it
touch down.
starting to, and then it cuts to BB-8 looking, and then Rey is climbing out.
I was gonna say, yeah, you have to say Disney Star Wars
That's
with that
money
shit.
there. That's cheap.
We see
that's
Krennic
just-
land.
that's
Krennic
cheaper.
lands at the beginning of Rogue One, I want to say.
We see him land on Mustafar. I know that.
Because he lands so far away from Galen Erso's farm because it's a cool shot where they're all walking up to his house, but like just land closer, saves you the walk.
No, but it looks a lot cooler for them all to like. Plus, it gives them time to run away.
Let's see. Bad Bathtime says, I always thought the coolest landing was in Aliens with the drop ship and then the RPC tank flying out. I wish they made stuff like that now. Yeah, that's some good shit, man. Alien and Aliens. Are
Travis,
you
that
more?
doesn't count as a landing.
Are you more of a fan of Alien or Aliens? Or Alien Resurrection, maybe?
Apples and tomatoes.
I feel like it's a really good comparison, actually. It's very much like T1 or T2. Which do you prefer? It's like, on one day, I kind of like the more horror stalker thriller aspect of the first movie, and sometimes I just want to see one of the best action films ever made.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
a sweet Guns N' Roses song in it. Bathtime says, my friend once half-heartedly tried to say I was to invoke imagery of a chest busters, the tank bursting out of its host. Let's see. Travis says we see a bunch of ships land when they return at the end, and we see Kylo's ship lands after it's cut in half by Rey, and fucking blows up, and like he just gets out and he's fine. What was up with that? That was weird.
Plo Koon is still alive. That confirms it.
Bathtime says, I enjoyed Aliens more, but Alien is a better film, if that makes sense. Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Brogu says, I like Aliens and Terminator 2, probably the best sequels in movie history. Unfortunately, James Cameron broke that with Avatar: The Way of Water. He also directed his first movie was another sequel, Piranha 2: The Spawning, which I still haven't seen, actually.
That's actually a good shot, Travis.
The shot in Last Jedi when Poe skids out of the speeder at the end, then slides into the trench was cool. Sure. He's demoted for such a reckless move like that, Skid. How fucking dare he do things with style and actually save the day? Fuck him. Possible hot take here. I think Alien 3 and Terminator Salvation are wildly underrated. You know what? I might agree with you on some aspects of that. I don't think either are good, but I do think there are elements to them that make them not bad.
There is no Alien 3. That movie is called Alien Cubed.
That's just a good point. I mean, I honestly think if you kept...
Salvation is underrated. It should have had the original ending, but yeah.
Yeah. And that trailer fucking just ruined that film. Just giving away like the main twist to it. Although even then, like you probably could see it coming. But yeah, Alien 3, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I was gonna say if you don't change the film, but you keep Newt and Hicks alive, then you've got a better movie. But that would change the entire film. But yeah, that was a mistake. That was the equivalent of more recently Terminator Dark Fate just killing John Connor off at the beginning of the fucking movie. Like, what are you thinking?
I mean, that's an interesting like twist. Like, if you're gonna go with different timelines, because it's already not Skynet, so it might as well not be John Connor.
Bathtime says,
but
not a huge fan of...
It might as well not be Terminator, but then you're going to do the time-traveling robot against the leader of a resistance. It kind of does have to be Terminator in that case.
Bathtime says, not a huge fan of Prometheus myself, but it was nice to see a very ambitious attempt to try and make a Paradise Lost version for a prequel. Prometheus had loads of good ideas, and my God, something went wrong in that execution. Still, to this day, one of my favorite trailers for a film ever released. The trailer was sublime for that film.
Paradise Lost in Space. That could be interesting. Maybe like Dawn of the Jedi as Paradise Lost.
Brogu also concurs. Terminator Salvation is underrated. I like that movie. And there was a total Member Berries moment where John Connor sets a boombox down and plays You Could Be Mine by Guns N' Roses to entice a motorbike Terminator. Hey, those things were fucking cool. Yeah. I don't care. Travis says Salvation has the best John Connor, I think. Well, it has Batman. And it gave us the greatest rant in movie history.
Oh, Bruce!
Oh, good for you! Walking up behind Bryce
Have you
in the
seen
fucking
Batman
scene.
Begins?
Yes, bits of it, yeah.
Yeah, that audio is used to show like Bruce like yelling at himself, internal monologue.
Mhm. And Travis also says it's the first time since the original that the Terminators were remotely intimidating. Whoa! I mean, T-1000. Come on. Unless you're talking about like Terminators, meaning the T-800s with Arnie. I remember like losing my shit with that film. I really wanted to see how that series continued. But one of the biggest missed opportunities I think with Terminator Salvation is you do a film set in the future war and you make it look like it's set in modern day Afghanistan. What the fuck? You have the aesthetic like back in the 80s, back in like 84, with a shoestring budget. They managed to make that future war stuff look fucking compelling and terrifying and intense. You've got the floor of like skulls and broken, burnt out cars. It was terrifying. And then you got none of that in Salvation. Skynet looked really clean, like the Starship Enterprise, and for some reason had Helena Bonham Carter as the voice of Skynet. That was strange. I don't like giving Skynet a voice. I like it when it's just like this, terrifying AI technology, which we'll get there in a couple of years. It's going to happen. Was it 2026?
Maybe.
August 29th, 2026? Is that Judgment Day in T2?
There are so many Judgment Days. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do not know.
You didn't stop Judgment Day. You only postponed it. Judgment Day is inevitable. That was in T3, wasn't it? And they pushed it back to 2003. It happens in that movie. Sarah Connor Chronicles, yeah. And then in Terminator Genesis, they go back to the events of the first movie and stop the entire first and second movie from ever happening. Great. What a great start to the story there. And then that creates a separate timeline. And then Terminator Dark Fate is set after T2 and they kill John Connor. And they just need to stop. They just really need to stop. Brogu says, I wish they made a Terminator movie where we had a final battle between the Terminator and humans. We never got that. There's a lot of things they could have done, but I just want Terminator to stop. I just want it to stop. Let's just get T2 with the alternate ending where you have old ass Sarah Connor in the park, where there's a really random line where she's like, Judgment Day never happened. Everything went on as normal. Michael Jackson turned 40. That's an actual line. It's so random. I know like Michael Jackson was hot shit back then, but that is a random line.
Well, to be fair, Judgment Day fell on his 40th birthday.
Oh, did it actually? It's even still
like that's why you put that line there.
It is a weird line. I know Michael Jackson was like the Messiah. I know he was. Yeah, I get it, but let's see. Travis says, my Covenant sequel pitch. The last engineer returns to find his people massacred, reactivating Walter, who tells him what David's plan is. It then becomes the raid with them killing aliens on a ship. It's probably better than what we actually got, which was just Alien Light again, which is what we always get now.
One of the most inspiring lines in a sci-fi is, are we going to stand around and get killed one by one like an alien? Or are we going to band together and fight back like an aliens?
I can't place what that's from. I feel like I should know what that's from.
No, it's okay. That's okay. Don't worry about that.
Skynet killed Jacko. Maybe. You got to include Michael Jackson and Terminator. Yeah, maybe. You know what? For that line to work, they should have, instead of You Could Be Mine, Guns N' Roses, they should have had a Michael Jackson song. And the question is, which Michael Jackson song would you put in T2? I guess I need to find out what year T2 came out, and then we can probably work it out from there. So Terminator 2 came out in 1991. So, was that the Dangerous album, or was that a little bit after? It was either Dangerous or History.
I don't know.
You uncultured swine. Let's see. Where's his discography?
You should know better than to ask me anything about music.
Michael Jackson discography. Let's see. Dangerous. Okay, so Dangerous came out in 1991. So we've got to pick a song from that. Jam, maybe. Heal the World. Oh god, that would be sickly sweet.
That would, I mean, that considering they did.
We could use "Give In to Me," which might be my favorite Michael Jackson song, and does feature Slash on guitar. Slash is linked with Guns N' Roses, so therefore that's going to be my pick. There we go. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. Burger says, "Beat it." Okay, I think we'll probably round off there.
What's that Alien Cubed quote?
You want it on your feet or on your fucking knees, begging. I ain't much for begging, so I say, fuck that thing. Let's fight it.
See, I only remember one quote from Alien Cubed, and it's "Do not speak to me. I am a murderer and a raper of women."
That movie's got Charles.
Just
that movie's got.
Shit.
Why didn't Charles Dance
that
ever
movie
become a
has
bigger
Charles
actor?
Dance as the love interest.
Yeah. Charles Dance is fucking great. He's one of those actors that's fantastic in every single thing he's in, but he never made it big for some reason, and I don't know why. He's great.
Yeah, I mean, you look, you got to have your Mark Urbans.
I love him. Have you ever seen Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I have not, but I'm familiar with it.
It's a film that's so ahead of its time, and no one really gave it a shot when it came out. It's a great pastiche on 80s action movies and action movie tropes. Charles Dance plays the villain in that, and he's like a Bond villain, and he's fucking glorious.
I know Ian McKellen plays Death.
He does. Yeah, it's such a good film. There's a bit where I don't want to spoil it all, but like one of my favorite jokes in there is so they go in. It's almost like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit thing. They go into the movie world and exist in the movie world, and then the movie characters come back into our world. And Charles Dance comes back into our world, and he shoots a guy in the street randomly. They're in like New York or something, in like the Bronx, and he shoots a guy. And he's like, "I've just shot a man, and I want you to arrest me." And there's someone just out the window, like, shut up!" like it's just a common occurrence. And I think he just starts shooting loads of people, and everyone's like, keep it down out there. It's fucking great. Oh, I need to watch that movie again. It's been a long time.
You see, I feel like the exact opposite should have happened. He should have shot someone and expected like little consequence, and then he's being arrested. He's like, "Wait, what's going on?"
Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Happened.
Yeah,
we have shootouts in the street all the time. That's what this is. What are you doing?
Oh, this is topical for what we're talking about. Yeah. Bathtime says, "I like the scene where everyone has the same phone number in a Blockbusters, and then Stallone starred in Terminator." Yeah, I think that they walk past like a cardboard cutout, don't they? Advertising T2, and it's Stallone as the Terminator. It's amazing.
I know the scene you're talking about because it was at the beginning of a Stallone deepfake of Terminator.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Oh, and Danny DeVito's in that movie. Danny DeVito plays an animated cartoon cat working in the police precinct amongst live action actors. Because why not? It's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You need to watch this movie.
I love Danny DeVito's and Arnold Schwarzenegger's like connections through film.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were, I think they were hosting like they were hosting some sort of award show. I think it was the Oscars or something. And I was like, it's pretty obvious why they asked us to come up here. We both tried to kill Batman.
Yeah. Where is he? There he is. He's right there. He's like,
yeah, you got a lot of nerve showing your face.
You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here. I tried to freeze Gotham.
Michael Keaton just being a G.
He's what are we doing? Get that guy a Batman 3, not a Flash, not a fucking Batgirl. Tim Burton, let's get him back. He's going to keep making Beetlejuice sequels now. No, I want a Batman 3. I want Danny Elfman returning to the score, Tim Burton directing, Michael Keaton in the fucking suit. Let's go. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Let's get Sam Raimi on the phone and let's get Spider-Man 4 made. Maguire and Raimi want to do it. They're good to go. You're literally printing money. It'd be fucking huge. Stop making Kraven the Hunter, Sony. Stop making Madam Web. Stop making Venom 26, which thankfully I think they've got the memo now. I think Kraven's just like massively bombed and they're like, yeah, people aren't warming to these villain spin-off films without the main hero in it. Just make Spider-Man 4 for fuck's sake. What are we doing? Ugh. Although if we don't get it, I got No Way Home. This is the closest I'm ever going to get, and it filled me with joy. That film was an event. Might not be the best movie ever, and I haven't watched it a second time, but my God, I was a happy moviegoer that night when I saw that. Saw Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, I was like, it's getting misty in here. This is good. This is a good moment in my life. Yes, Bath Time said, yeah, the T-1000 is in The Last Action here as well. Yeah, he walks past the screen in character. Oh wow, yeah, Bath Time says, I saw somewhere they could have had Tom Holland Spider-Man in all them films, but they didn't. They absolutely love making crap films for the love of the game. The thing is, all the films they've made feel like those early 2000s Marvel movies. By far. Actually, you know what? No, because some of those early 2000s ones were great. X-Men 1, X-Men 2, the first couple of Spider-Man films, Blade, like, there was some good shit. I'm the only person who will defend Daredevil as well with Ben Affleck. Everyone detests that movie. I feel like I'm the only one who ever championed that film.
I gotta be honest. Spider-Man 2 has not aged well, and looking back onto it, it's not very true to itself.
Are you insane? That film still... What? Really?
Chris. He can't. He's struggling to balance Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Like it's that's the conflict, and it resonates in this physical manifestation where he loses his powers and he's Spider-Man no more. And then he has to save Mary Jane and he's Spider-Man again.
Yeah, because he realizes he has to be the hero. It's fine. It works. It works perfectly fine for that.
Except it's rooted. Except that he has to be the hero is rooted in he has to go save Mary Jane again. Except the whole he's still gonna be with her because he's Spider-Man. Except the whole point is the point of the conflict is that these two things are colliding and there's no resolution to that. He just decides, like he Thorin Oakenshields it. He just decides he doesn't have that problem anymore.
No, because it's innate. It's when the car gets put through the fucking building, and his spider sense triggers in that moment.
Correct.
That shit's like indirect. That's shit's instinctive. It just fucking happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, it's not rooted in the actual conflict of the movie. Like
but it kind of is. Like Mary Jane's about to get fucking
resolution. It shouldn't have been Mary Jane. Like it should not have been Mary Jane in that movie.
But what
like, I will say, as not as good as it is, at least Spider-Man 3 is always about itself. Like it is always true to what it is doing.
Dude, what is with the hot takes tonight? There's you slagging off Spider-Man 2. We got Travis in the comments who says, I think Spider-Man 2 is near horrendous. Did we watch the same movies? What? No, I'm not going to sit here and have Spider-Man 2 slandered. What the fuck?
I listen. Luke Skywalker
I
never
don't get what your
receives
point.
any formal
What is your
lightsaber
point?
training.
What is your point about Spider-Man 2? He's conflicted. Like he
My
wants
point,
to live a normal life. His grades are slipping. He's got no fucking job. The love of his life is getting married to some douche canoe, and he's having a sort of psychological breakdown between his, he's having an identity crisis. That's exactly what it is.
no. And look, the first 3 quarters of that movie are great, but then it just drops the ball so fucking hard because it seems to miss its own point.
Well, the point is that he needs to be a hero, and in that moment where the fucking car gets put through, he has to save someone, and that's when it kicks in, and he knows what he needs to do.
Right. But the point is, he needs to be a hero. But at no point does he accept that that's going to conflict with him being Peter Parker, because it stops conflicting with him being Peter Parker.
Does it at that point? I don't think it does.
It does. There's
What, for the
no
rest
like
of...
the like I'm like the
Well, no,
whole
because
reason
no,
he
you see,
stopped being Spider-Man has nothing to do with the reason he becomes Spider-Man again.
no, because you see it building. You see that the realization ticking over in his mind, because you have like the happy-go-lucky raindrops keep falling on my head montage, and then he sees like a cop car go past or someone getting beat up in an alley, and he doesn't do it, but you can see it's plaguing on his mind. Then you have the burning building scene where he goes in, even though he doesn't have the powers, he still goes in and tries to be a hero, and he gets the girl
It's
out, and
great.
then he hears that someone else was on the top floor and never made it out. And again, you see the look on his face like, oh God, like, what have I done? Like, I need to get back to being a hero.
It's nailing it. It's doing a great job. It just falls flat at the end, though. Like, the conflict is not the resolution of that conflict.
I mean, I feel like it is. I don't get your point.
It's
I feel
not,
like it is,
though.
though.
Watch it again and just watch it again and ask what about him what about the conflict at the beginning is actually resolved?
I mean, there's an ending monologue, isn't there, where he talks about the dilemma with the two, and even Mary Jane kind of realizes it at the end, like she wants to be with him, but then he has to take off, prematurely and go and chase after help the cops out, and then you have that sort of ambiguous, strange, bittersweet final shot of her at the end where she looks a little bit disappointed. Like it's the conflict is still there, present at the
Didn't she
end.
just tell him, go get him, Tiger?
She did, but you know what Mary Jane's like in those movies, especially in 3.
Yeah,
She's like, this isn't
again,
about you, Peter. This is
I
about
feel like the
me. Okay.
strain doesn't really show up until the next movie.
The final shot of Spider-Man 2 kind of sets those things up. It's the final shot of the film. You have the swing away, he chases after the helicopters through the street with the cops, and then the final shot is a lingering and then the music kind of takes a little bit of a somber tone, fades to black on Mary Jane's face as she looks a little bit disappointed.
I gotta be honest, for it to be batting like a solid, it's really nailing what it's doing, and then for it to fall so flat on its face, it cannot be picked up with this one shot at the end.
I see. I think you're way off base on that. I don't think it falls flat on its face at all. Like we have to agree to disagree on that. I hail Spider-Man 1 and 2 as 2 of the greatest comic book movies ever made. I do prefer Spider-Man 1. I like seeing origin stories, and I watched both of I watched all 3 last year. Actually, they released them back in the cinema. Was it earlier this year or last year? The time is crazy. It might have been earlier this year. Yeah, I think it was around the summer.
You're planning to watch 3.
What? Sorry.
Let me know the next time you're planning to watch 3. I got the version you got to watch.
Yeah, I just watched the theatrical for that.
Also,
but yeah, no, I need to watch that.
Also, bath time. Norman calls her out for it in part 1.
He does. Yeah. They're all the same. Your mother was the same. It's right after the Thanksgiving bit, isn't it, where he leaves?
Oh yeah, no, it's at Thanksgiving. It's not after. It's at Thanksgiving in the other room. Everyone hears it.
What does he say? That they're coming after you like a pack of ravening wolves or something? I can't remember what he says. Dude, Willem Dafoe's so great. You couldn't wish for a better Norman Osborn. Travis says Spider-Man 1 and 3 are near perfect, however. 1 is, 3 is very far from near perfect, but it does have some perfect moments.
Travis, look up Firework Studios Spider-Man 3 Definitive Cut. You're welcome.
Travis says
somebody's going to turn this on.
We as the audience know
expecting Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, I know, right? We talked about Skeleton Crew like half hour ago. Over. Travis says note that we as the audience know Peter senses that car, but Doc Ock doesn't. So if he was just a normal guy, Doc Ock's plan would have fallen apart pretty quick.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah, Travis says MJ kisses Peter at the end of the first movie and touches her lip, remembering them as the lips she kissed in the rain. But their second film, she forgets entirely and treats Peter like crap. I think it was probably too outlandish. She probably thought, hang on, I recognize that, but there's no way. And then she gets that reaffirmed, I want to say, in Spider-Man 2. I don't think it's like a complete retcon or anything between those two films. I do think it's weird how all of a sudden there's just
sounds anything like Peter Parker.
Dude, I live in a world where I'm fine with the whole like Clark Kent Superman thing. It's fine.
You remember Ben Parker, the man you killed in cold blood.
I mean,
What's
we
that
all
got
know
to do with you. Everything.
Bath Time says, doesn't he give up on MJ at the end of the film for that exact reason?
And then that's like the primary conflict at the beginning of the second one, that he like really wants to be with MJ, even though he is one that, and like she's not really about it anymore.
I was going to say something about that. MJ, doesn't he give up on MJ? We all know the chick he should have got with, and that's Ursula. She was the chosen one all along. We just didn't know it at the time.
Is she like 15?
No, I don't think so. I think she's in her 20s, isn't she?
I always felt like she was like young and naive. Like at most she's like, let's just say by Spider-Man 3 she's 18, because he's like overtly actually like flirting with her, and it's kind of weird if she's any younger than that by that point.
Let's have a look how old the actress is, and we'll sort of gauge it from that.
Let's not Raiders of the Lost Ark this.
She was born in 1979, so Spider-Man 2 came out in 2004. Okay. 2004. So you do the math.
Okay, cool.
I'm fine.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. You could buy me pizza sometime. He's good.
Today's good. You are a good woman. I am good man. You know what? Actually, this was like the note that I had at the end. You've seen Far From Home, right?
Yeah.
At the very end, literally at the very end of the film, where the whole like everyone's forgotten who Peter Parker, who Spider-Man is, and then he gets that apartment. It's literally the final scene at the end of the film. The only thing, the cherry on top of that cake would have been if you just heard the voiceover of Mr. Dickovich going, "Rent," when he gets led into his apartment. That, honestly, I would have fucking lost it. I would have been, this is the greatest film I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna do a fan edit of that film, and I'm just gonna put that. Yeah, I'm just gonna put that soundbite at the end if someone hasn't done it already, and it'll be great. Oh my god, we've got so many.
Honestly, I love that guy. I love when his reaction to getting yelled at by Peter in 3. That's amazing. That's a great moment.
Those Spider-Man films,
Peter's.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Just Peter's always been like like respectful and paying his rent on time, and he's always a bit of a bitch about it, like a bit of a whipping boy, and then he just snaps. And this guy who we would assume is painted to be he's greedy. He's the landlord. Give me rent. And then he sees it, and his first reaction is, that is a good boy.
Yeah, I love that
He
scene.
has to be in some kind of trouble.
He is good boy.
He
That's why I
must be
love
in
those
some kind of
films.
trouble. It's like, what
Yeah,
a great guy. Holy
yeah, no, he
shit.
is. No, he really is. Like those films, the little like side characters or cameo characters are so fucking memorable and likable and quotable. Literally
Where
everyone.
the fuck is Violin Lady in Spider-Man 3?
I just remember the
He should
montage.
be in the orchestra on Broadway with Mary Jane.
I love the
They
montage in the
say
first
that
movie.
Spider-Man
Oh no,
is
is one
wonderful.
plink plink plonk plonk plonk. No, I love the montage in the first movie where you just have the New Yorker where it's like he stinks and I don't like him. Just that guy. There's just so many memorable characters. You got the bit with like Bonesaw in the cage where the previous wrestler is just like, oh my legs. I can't feel my legs. Isn't it
And of course,
Octavia Spencer?
you can't forget Bruce Campbell.
Oh Jesus, yeah. I mean, which pick which one? Like all of them are amazing.
I don't have to,
No.
but
Oh, he
if I don't, it destroys the illusion.
helps maintain the illusion. Dude, that guy was going to be Mysterio. We were fucking robbed. And he would have been the same character. It would have been.
Becca.
That's what they said. Becca. That he's. Oh, can I? He's probably my favorite, actually. Like some people might say he goes a bit overboard in that movie, but I don't care. It's the bit where he sees Peter Parker gesture and he's like, like, and he goes and brings the band in, and he's like, no, he's like, get the fuck out of here. And he gets like really aggressive with it. It's amazing.
I love romance. I am French.
I am French. Oh, dude, you're making me want to watch the Spider-Man films again now. I might have to dive into it again
Dude,
very soon.
Please watch that edit for 3. It's so good.
I will do, yeah, when I get around to it
I
again.
hate that it is called the definitive cut. Anybody who names their edit, I have fixed this movie, or this is the best way to watch this movie, fuck you a little bit. But this is a great way to watch that movie. This might be the definitive cut.
I'm sorry, but if they've removed any J. Jonah Jameson scene or Mr. Dickovich, then it is not the definitive cut. Fundamentally,
I do not believe it has.
Okay, then it stands a chance. I'll give it a shot.
Honestly, like I know a bunch of little things it does, but the main thing it does with like Harry is so great.
Yeah. Just like this, Travis says, I love that one guy with dreadlocks who's throwing shit at Green Goblin who yells, I got something for your ass.
For your ass.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that was definitely like an after 9/11 thing.
Yeah, it really was. I actually kind of wish they'd have kept the original Spider-Man reveal in from that film. I know I get why they couldn't, but I think it would have been much better. It's the teaser trailer stuff.
Where they had the web between the Twin Towers.
It's the bank robbery and Spider-Man.
I don't think that was a real thing. I've seen it. I don't think that was
there's
meant
shots
to be a real
of it
scene.
though in the montage. The montage feels quite rushed. It's great, and it gives a you got what's her name? Oh, Xena Warrior Princess. What's her fucking name? Lucy Lawless, isn't it? Is that her name?
God damn it! Yes, that is her name, and I was gonna remember it.
She's like the punk chick, and she's like guy with 8 hands. Sounds hot. I'm like, that's awesome. And then she was in Sam Raimi's Ash vs. Evil Dead, which got cancelled, which I was really annoyed about because it was really good, and it ended.
No, it didn't because
it got cancelled.
It ended in a perfect spot.
It did in a really kind of poetic spot to get cancelled on.
Yeah, no, it basically it ended where Army of Darkness was going to end, and then the ending changed.
Like it was going to be like a Mad Max future type thing, and it got cancelled.
I want like a comic book about that, about what happens next, because I think that would actually have been better than the show.
Uh, do, 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 do. Oh, I haven't seen this. Travis says there's one glaring editing issue in Spider-Man 3 that's always bugged me. During the Sandman sewer fight, after he bursts the water pipe, there's a brief shot of him swinging towards the camera, but it cuts back to him standing on the pipe again. It's literally a random frame that got misplaced. Ooh. I haven't seen that. Get it into the editing suite, my dude. Check it out. It could be like that one like faded guy who's standing behind Anakin on the lava bank. I don't know whether it was one of the crew members on
behind set. Jabba.
Yes. Or that half a guy who's in jeans in Mandalorian.
Or that guy in the cowboy hat in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Very end of the first movie.
Or just the guy in the crowd of zombies in the first episode of The Walking Dead.
Oh, is there? No, I haven't seen that in a long time.
There's just a guy like eating a sandwich or something.
Love it. Right, guys, we're gonna round off. This was fun, though.
Yeah, we've been here. We haven't talked about about Skeleton Crew in like an hour.
I'm fine with that. We talked about much more interesting things like Spider-Man. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight, and we really did. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight, kept the comments going, and derailed us from talking about the Skeleton Crew. But that's fine. It was a nice distraction. I approve. In the meantime. Let us know your thoughts on Skeleton Crew. We need to bring it back. Let's bring it back. So, thoughts of where it's heading. Are you enjoying it so far? You're kind of indifferent. Let us know. JX, where can people find you and what are you working on at the moment?
Well, you can find me on youtube.com as JXEDITOR.
Oh, almost. That's as good as it's going to get.
No, you fucking did it! You fucking did it! You stopped!
Let's fucking go!
Stop! The one time you do it. I do fan edits of things. Most recently, I've been working on an edit of the Clone Wars, creating a satisfying, informative interquel between Star Wars episodes 2 and 3. And hopefully that'll be out around Christmas.
Nice. You're really selling it to me, dude. Be enthusiastic about your product.
Look, it's late.
AI things. AI. Nice. AI things are happening. It's cool. We've been having a lot of fun with AI the last few days. That shit's going places in a few years. It's really
you saw
fun.
all those clips I sent you of that just from that one frame. The potential is unlimited.
Yeah, well, up to 6 seconds it is, yes. But
well, you can keep it going. Just synth from the last frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in the meantime, if you like what you see here, please do consider subscribing for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. The Disney reviews will be resuming on Monday. I think me and Everything in Middle-earth have talked about, maybe doing a Bat with the Five Armies stream of some kind, whether it's a watch-along or just review, because it is, well, I think it was yesterday, its 10th anniversary since that movie came out.
Gollum.
Wait, well, yeah, maybe
Gollum fan film.
Oh yeah, there's that one. We have talked about that as well. It's probably going to be January sometime, but yep, stuff and things are happening, and we'll
better than Born of Hope, in my opinion.
Ooh, well, I haven't seen this one, so I'll check it out and I'll let you know. Stuff and things are happening, so we'll probably be streaming on Christmas Day for the Skeleton Crew. I'm going to be really annoyed because we got another holiday special reference in this episode. It was that circus music again. If we don't get a holiday,
same holiday special reference.
If we don't get a holiday special reference on the day of the actual holiday next week, I'm going to be really pissed off.
That's a very good point, actually. Like, do you think they knew that this was coming out around Christmas? So they're like, well, some fans are going to be watching this.
They have to.
They're going to be watching the holiday special. It's going to trigger the. Yeah.
They're going to crash land on a planet of children that are celebrating Life Day. And you know what? I'd be cool with that. And through the Skeleton Crew, we can discover the true meaning of Christmas. This is the promise of the Tree of Life.
We're talking about Skeleton Crew again.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I'm ending the stream. See you guys.